Welcome to Part 4, Stage 4 of Hagane for the Super Nintendo. And I think this is where the game starts to get a little bit more challenging, if I remember right. Yeah, I think this stage and the final stage, because there's only 2 more stages left, so this stage and the final stage are the hardest levels, I believe. I think there's some tricky shit in this level. I mean, it's not horribly difficult, but there's some hard parts that took a few, tries to get down. And of course, practice the levels as I mentioned. Use save state on each section, so make sure you're comfortable with each section, and then do the entire level straight through, legit. This guy's not always easy to deal with, but it's just a matter of getting used to his movement, and it does take some practice to kind of get used to him because he can be tricky. But it's one of those things that's kind of hard to explain. But once you get a feel for the rhythm of this enemy, you'll have an idea what to do. It just takes a little practice. He's not that easy, so not super hard or anything. But he can be tricky. You do have to fight him again later with other enemy, with other bosses around the area. So that he can be a little trickier on stage 5. I would have made this 5-part video. I would have made it into one video, but I still don't know how to combine videos. That's definitely something I need to learn. I mean, I did finally figure out how to add commentary to videos, so that's good. But my next step is learning how to combine videos into one, so I could have just made a single video. I mean, it's just a little bit more convenient, I think, but it's not a real big deal, but I do want to learn how to do it. Because right now I'm limited to how much I can get done in a single recording, which is about an hour long. Because if I record for longer than an hour, I have a high risk of losing the data and the device crashing. So I try to keep them under an hour. And if I can't beat a level in an hour on, say, a new game or something like Wolfenstein 2, if I don't manage beating, the hardest difficulty, if I don't finish a level in 1 hour, then I have to divide the level up into multiple parts. So it's just kind of, it just doesn't look as clean to me. I'm kind of a perfectionist. I would rather have one video for those. But I will improve on that in the future. It's just another thing that I have to learn. It'll all come with time. I haven't been the most aggressive at learning all this shit, but it has been happening gradually. Yeah, not too much to say here. If you follow the paths that I'm taking, you'll get the same items, obviously. And I would say just take it slow. Try to kill things as they appear so that they don't, attack you. The slide, I think, gives you some invincibility, so you may want to use that to get underneath the rocks. And there are definitely other moves in this game that I don't use that are actually can be really good. There's like some kind of almost like a magic with a dragon or something like that, and some other like these cartwheels you can do. The Ripper 999 actually makes great use out of those moves in his playthrough on his channel. So check out the Ripper 999. Check out his channel. He actually went through the game a second time to refine his playthrough, so some of his parts are played even better than what I have here because he really refined it. And for me, this was just my first time, successfully completing each level. So it wasn't refined at all. Though my final level ended up being kind of refined because I just had to practice it so much to beat it. So that one actually came out, I think, better. But, not intentionally, just it was a hard level, so I had to practice it a lot. And this is definitely one of the longer levels, I think. That and the next level. The next level is also about 10 minutes long, so it's... For me, and when I played it, it was anyway. It was actually a lot longer because, like I said, I edited out all the deaths, so you got to take that into consideration. But I mean, without dying, that's about how long the levels are. Unless you wander, you can move a lot faster, of course, and you can aimlessly wander and waste more time, of course. But I guess generally, it gives you a general idea. For this part, I just as shown, I think I use my bombs. I use both types of bombs. I use my special bombs that clear the screen, and I use my bomb weapon. And just kind of moved around and avoided them, and that was about it. Not much to say with that. This level, I think this section, I think, is the section that's the most annoying part of the level. And why is that? That's because the jumping in this game, as I said, I think is kind of shitty. Because you have these very high, very narrow jumps that are very short. You know, you jump very high, but you don't move very far horizontally. So that makes it strange. And the worst part of the jumping is that whenever you're near an edge and you jump, you know, a lot of times it doesn't register for whatever reason, and you'll just walk off the ledge. Which I think you'll see me doing this, and I think that's why this level took me longer, as I wasted time falling off the ledge. So, yeah, I mean, so don't get too frustrated, I mean, you know, about that, because I had the same issue, and so did the Ripper 999 in his playthrough. He had the same fucking problem, you know, with the ledges, so it's probably not you. But just keep practicing, like I said, practice the sections that are giving you trouble, and you'll get them down. Just got to be a little patient. You don't have to do it all in one day, you know. I think I beat this game over several days. I would work on like a level a day. And not spending a whole day. Maybe I would spend an hour or sometimes a few hours on a level, whatever it took. But I think the only levels that took more than an hour might have been like the final. Maybe, I don't know about this level, but the fifth level I had to practice for at least, I think, probably close to 2 hours. I don't know. I have to look at my description again, and I'll give you a better... I'm going to post the original descriptions. Some of those, I think, explain how long it took me and all those kind of details. But yeah, pretty much you're gonna just, you know, there's not really a complicated path here. It's just that the jumping is annoying. You know, that's going to be the thing. See how I just walked off the fucking ledge? It's not like I didn't hit the jump button. It's just because it's the timing is just weird on ledges. So you know. And that's a real bitch for the final level. You'll see what I do on the final boss to get past that, because the final boss has you jumping up platforms while enemies are shooting at you and knocking you down. And you have to jump up fast because the boss is constantly moving upward and you have to keep up with him. So I had a little trick to get around that on the last level, which, you know, it's an easier method. You'll probably find that useful if you're trying to beat the game. It does require you, though, to save up your bombs and not use them on some of the other bosses and stuff. So you will have to get better at some of the earlier parts so you don't waste your bombs. But it's worth it because the last boss can be a nightmare. He can be a real bitch. And, you know, if the controls were tighter, I don't think he would have been a problem for me, because I don't have a problem with you know, twitchy games and such. But for some reason, it was giving me a lot of trouble. I mean, I would have adapted eventually if I had to do it without the bombs. But, I mean, why would I do that when I can just save up the bombs? Just take your time here. You know, you'll know about those spikes after a while, where they're going to come up at. You got to watch out for them, obviously. And, you know, use your ranged attacks. Make sure there's no enemies moving around with all this bullshit, because you want to get it out of there. The less shit you have moving around, the easier it's going to make your, you know, movement through this area. I used the bomb there because I was pretty much fucked. You know, I wasn't going to get out of that too well. So definitely use them to save your ass when you need to, you know. Because as long as you can complete a section, you'll be good. You know, you'll be ready for the next section. You know, you'll have a checkpoint. So just, you know, do what you need to do to get through the sections. Even if you get through with like no life, it's okay. The game may actually fill your health bar when you move into another area, but I can't say for sure, because remember, I edited the deaths out, so I didn't look at the life number to see if this was my first time getting there without dying. So let's see. I mean, obviously I did each one of these levels on the same continue, because that's what you have to do to beat it legit, but I just edited out the deaths. Okay, yeah, for this part, this is like one of the few times in the game that I use this hook weapon. It's almost like a grappling hook, I guess, but it doesn't really grapple. But I think you do have a grappling hook as well. I don't know if that may be it. I think it's a weapon and a grappling hook, if I remember. But anyway, I found it useful for this guy because you have to shoot. It's the only weapon that can shoot straight up, and you know you have to do that when he goes above. You don't have to do it, but you'll be you'll be fighting him a lot longer if you don't get those extra hits in when he's above you. So, and this boss can be tricky because he has, multiple forms. And this part's kind of annoying with all these pieces flying around. Just pay attention to what direction they're coming from and try to slice them up as they come. It can be a little tricky, but it's not bad. But like any time you get hit is always going to, make it more dangerous for the next form. It's better to be able to, to do all the sections without taking damage if you can, and make it a lot easier. So definitely practice it with save states and try to get good at where you can beat the boss 3 times in a row without dying, and then you should be good enough to. I mean, that's my general rule with a lot of these games. Then you should be good enough to get back to it and beat it legit. It really doesn't take that much, but sometimes you just have to put in a little time and practice these parts. Yeah, this part's very easy to dodge. As soon as he drops his that fire down, it just goes towards the end of the screen. But as long as you just walk in the other direction, you'll be all right. And you can even jump and not get hit. So yeah, you shouldn't really get hit by this at all. This is one of the easiest attacks to dodge. It's just a long fight. None of his attacks are very difficult. But little fuck ups here and there, and then you won't end up making it to the end of the fight. So just be patient. Yeah, and he's a few seconds away from death now. Let's see. Oh, he died. I don't even know what the fuck happened. But he died. Yeah, I didn't even see the final hit that hit him, but whatever. At least he died. So, yeah, that ends that. Next up is the final level, so stay tuned.